Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we're tapping into some serious digital nostalgia. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Can you hear it? That screeching, static-filled symphony of the dial-up modem? Or maybe you're picturing those shiny, free trial floppy disks that literally spilled out of your mailbox every single week. Yep, today we're unpacking the absolute roller coaster that is the multi-decade story of America Online.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly did a company famous for mailing out floppy disks fundamentally change the world? It's a wild ride, and this explainer is going to take us on a chronological journey. We'll start with the screeching sounds of dial-up internet, head straight onto the red carpets of Hollywood pop culture, and finally end up in the invisible, high-stakes world of modern ad tech.
Starting our journey with Section 1, the genesis and the floppies.
To really understand this timeline, we actually have to look at a massive failure. Back in 1983, a modem gaming company called CVC was founded, and, well, it completely tanked. But out of that wreckage, they pivoted in 1985 to quantum computer services, focusing on a dedicated online service. Fast forward to 1987, venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins steps in. And then look right there at 1991. This is the absolutely pivotal moment. A brilliant marketing consultant named Steve Case is named CEO.
Now, Steve Case understood something fundamental about consumer psychology. Back then, the internet was incredibly intimidating. So how do you get people online? You put it right in their hands. Case launched this masterful, aggressive marketing campaign that literally flooded American mailboxes with thousands and thousands of free trial floppy disks. It positioned AOL not as some elite, untouchable computer science experiment, but as the friendly online service for everyday people.
And along with that friendly service, AOL introduced its very own email addresses, packaged with a digital chime that would become permanently etched into our cultural memory. You've got mail. That iconic, comforting voice actually belonged to a man named Elwood Edwards, who recorded it way back in 1989. You know, it wasn't just a notification, it was an event. It meant someone, somewhere out in the digital ether, was actually thinking of you.
And this brilliantly illustrates the strategic genius of Steve Case and his team. They realized that getting people in the door was way more important than having a rigid paywall. So they took a massive risk. They dropped their monthly subscription fees completely. Instead, they shifted entirely to an advertising and free service business model. And man, it worked perfectly. The ad revenues ended up more than compensating for the lost subscription fees, and AOL's user growth just absolutely exploded.
Moving right along to Section 2, the instant messaging revolution.
So up until 1997, AOL was really a story of top-down corporate marketing. But the next phase, that came straight from ground-level engineering. How did AIM actually get built? Well, it wasn't some heavily funded corporate initiative. During the intense web browser wars of the 90s, 3 rebel coders at AOL, Barry, Eric, and Jerry, started quietly building a standalone messenger in secret, without official blessing. They fully knew that releasing a free, open-source style product was basically unheard of at the time.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible grassroots passion behind the project. Just look at this quote from Jerry Harris, one of those original engineers. Exposing it to other people is a risk. All of that risk is part of the thrill when you get it right and you make a difference. While corporate executives were terrified that a free chat tool would undercut their business, these engineers weren't focused on the business model at all. They just wanted to connect people in real time.
And connect people? It absolutely did. AIM became a massive, culture-shifting hit. Why? Because it gave users unprecedented tools for self-expression. First of all, it was totally free to use. Then you had the famous buddy list, so you knew exactly when your friends logged on. You had away messages, where you could leave cryptic lyrics to an emo song for your crush to decipher. You had customizable buddy icons. The team even implemented warning throttles to pause users who were being spammy, which was a feature born directly from reading weekly user feedback. AIM fundamentally redefined online social presence, maintaining a total stranglehold on youth culture until it was finally sunset in 2017. All right, Section 3, a pop culture phenomenon. AOL goes to Hollywood. By 1998, AOL had become so deeply ingrained in our daily lives that it actually caught the attention of Hollywood director Nora Ephron. She saw an amazing opportunity to modernize a classic story. Back in 1940, there was a film called The Shop Around the Corner, where 2 feuding gift shop workers unknowingly fall in love through analog letters. Well, Ephron took that exact enemies to lovers premise and updated it for 1998 with her blockbuster hit You've Got Mail, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. She perfectly captured the cultural shift from the slow pace of physical letters to the exciting, thrilling digital anonymity of AOL chat rooms and email. The studio greenlit the movie with a massive $65 million budget. But here's the really fascinating part.
AOL was essentially an unofficial co-star in this movie. The production worked directly with AOL to make sure they were using authentic 90s digital interfaces, the exact sound effects, and genuine screen captures. The film's title was even changed from You Have Mail to You've Got Mail specifically to align with AOL's trademarked greeting. I mean, it was the absolute ultimate validation of AOL's total dominance in the cultural zeitgeist.
And that brings us to Section 4, from dial-up to ad tech, the big pivot.
But as we know, the tech world moves incredibly fast. As the dial-up era ended and broadband took over, AOL had to pivot. So the crucial point is this number right here, 55%. In the year 2000, right at the height of the dot-com bubble, AOL agreed to merge with Time Warner, and the business world was absolutely stunned. Shareholders of AOL, which was a relatively new tech company, took a 55% controlling stake in the combined company, leaving Time Warner, literally one of America's oldest and most iconic media conglomerates, with the remaining 45%. It was a merger of unprecedented scale, though, as we all know, it would soon be rocked by the dot-com bust.
Despite the really rocky years that followed, AOL survived by quietly building out a robust digital advertising infrastructure. So by 2015, telecom giant Verizon swooped in and acquired AOL. But they didn't buy AOL for its legacy, slowly declining dial-up internet business. And they certainly didn't buy it for content sites like the Huffington Post. No, they bought it for something entirely different, something hidden right under the hood.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because when you map Verizon's needs directly to AOL's hidden assets, the acquisition makes perfect sense. Verizon was expanding its LTE wireless video and needed a way to monetize it. Well, AOL had their platforms group. Verizon needed granular measurement, just like digital marketers have on the web. AOL offered digital accountability. And for targeted ad delivery, AOL had already built a massive programmatic advertising engine. Verizon's ultimate goal here was to take these assets and completely disrupt the $400 billion incumbent television market. So how did AOL get those assets in the first place? Through some really smart strategic video tech acquisitions over the years. Just look at this list. Adapt TV in 2013, followed by Gravity, Convertro, and Vidable in 2014. By rolling up these fledgling tech businesses, AOL had successfully transformed its identity. They were no longer just a floppy disk company. They had become a highly sophisticated programmatic ad tech platform that could measure the ROI of video campaigns across mobile devices with incredible precision.
Which brings us to our final thought today. I want you to look at this question and really reflect on it. How did a 90s peer-to-peer chat tool, built in secret by rogue coders, lay the invisible groundwork for the modern internet and the highly targeted digital ads we interact with today? From the nostalgic sound of a dial-up modem in a Tom Hanks movie, all the way to the invisible, data-driven ad infrastructure that powers our mobile video, the legacy of AOL isn't just stuck in the past, it's actually the very architecture of our digital present. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope you learned something fascinating today.